Niners up.
The clock has hit 0.
Yes, it does. Welcome into overtime here on 95.7 The Game. The clock has not quite hit 0 at Levi's just yet, but this game is over. 34-24 Niners at the 2-minute warning. They have the ball. Titans, no timeouts left. Niners just running out the clock on this one. Mark Randy with you along with Sterling Bennett. It is a short but sweet edition of overtime today here on 95.7 The Game because we've got Warriors basketball. The Warriors in Portland. Tip-off is at 6, which means our pregame coverage begins at 5. But until then, it's Sterling and I with you here on overtime. Sterling, the Niners did what they needed to do. They got a win. They put up 34 points. Brock Purdy was nearly perfect in this game. The defense, not as great. But the offense was as good as you could possibly ask for, and the Niners will get their 10th win of the season and improve to 10-4.
Yeah, you leave this game saying, wow, the offense looks fantastic. They can beat anybody. Purdy looks incredible. Back-to-back games where you say that is a $53 million man. Yep. And on the other hand, you're like, oh my God, this defense can't stop a 2-win Titans win. Like what's going on? A terrible, terrible fourth quarter for San Francisco's defense. Yep. So many misplays. They can't make tackles. They can't stop the run. I don't know if this is what we're going to get as the year goes on. Obviously, we'll see next Monday against the Indianapolis Colts and grandfather Phillip Rivers, which why couldn't you beat the Seahawks today?
He did all he could. He did all he could.
But just a weird Niner game where it's like you walk away feeling confident, you got the win, you got 10 wins this season, that's awesome, but also you're like, this team has a lot of holes, and I'm a little worried as the year goes on because you got the Seahawks, you got the Bears soon, it's just, I don't know, a lot of uncertainty, but one thing that is certain is this offense is a game changer, and thank God they're here.
A quick look around the rest of the NFC, and of course there's a couple of really big division opponents for the Niners that are playing right now. The Rams, they were in a battle with the Lions. I guess still technically that game not over yet. It's 41-34 Rams over the Lions. About 2.5 left in that one. The Rams do have the ball though, so it'll take not a miracle, not quite a miracle, but a pretty good final 2.5 minutes for the Lions to come out with a victory in that one. And then the game has gone final in Seattle. You mentioned old man Phillip Rivers. He gave his Colts the lead in the final minute with a 60-yard field goal by Groupie, a kicker who was previously cut by the Saints. But the Seahawks responded, got back into field goal range. Jason Myers hit what turned out to be the game winner because in the final seconds, Phillip Rivers did end up throwing an interception to seal the game. So Seahawks win, and it looks like the Rams will also win. That is not yet a final. We will, of course, keep you updated there. The Niners going forward, it looks like maybe on a 4th and 1. No, they're not. They're going to settle for, I believe, a field goal and make this a 13-point game. It's all academic. This game is over. Niners will win. So Niners will win. Seahawks have won. Looks like the Rams will win, which means those two teams would be 11-3. Niners would now be 10-4. We'll update you if anything changes there. The other one that matters to the Niners in the NFC is a game going on in Denver. Green Bay is down by 8 in the final 5 minutes of the fourth quarter there. Green Bay is the team that has a tie in their record. They're currently sitting at 9-3-1. We'll see how it all plays out. Niners just want all these teams in the NFC to lose. So even if you don't win the division, maybe you could be the 5th or the 6th seed as opposed to the 7th in the NFC. But you're right, Sterling. This was a great game from Brock Purdy. He finishes this one 23 for 30, 295 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. He ran the ball 7 times for 44 yards, including 1 scramble on the left sideline for 26 yards where he utilized a pump fake. And then he kind of taunted the Titans at the very end of that, handing the ball off and then pulling it back at the last second.
He's just having some fun.
As he stepped out of bounds. He was doing the Dougie again in this one after his last touchdown pass. Brock Purdy looked very, very good. And this, Sterling, was kind of more of the equation that we expected from the Niners. It was, bend but don't break at times for the defense. It still was not great over the course of the whole game, but you forced a field goal early. You were good in the third quarter defensively, but the defense scored upwards of like 35 points. They scored 37 as Pinheiro makes a field goal, and you're going to win a lot of football games that way, and the Niners did that. This was kind of more like the equation that we expect from this Niner team, unlike what happened a couple of weeks ago in Cleveland when it was the defense and special teams that led the way for the 49ers.
Yeah, I'm a little worried about when San Francisco gets kind of knocked out of their element and can't play their game. You said it, bend don't break defense and an explosive passing offense mixed with some Christian McCaffrey runs to help extend drives on third and short, or maybe some first down runs to help make it easier on second and third down. But it's working right now, which is great, right? You're a 10-win team. You're in the thick of the NFC wildcard hunt. You have a chance at the division still. Rams and Seahawks face off on Thursday Night Football, so one of those teams has to lose guaranteed next week. And so you are what seems like going to gain a little bit of ground in the next week or so, but it's really hard to lead this game of like, oh, I feel great, when you're like, that was maybe one of the sloppiest fourth quarters we've seen. But you're right. Brock Purdy was just dropping dimes today against a banged-up Titans defense who already isn't that good. We know the pass rush really can't get home outside of Jeffrey Simmons.
He had a strip sack. Yep.
Yeah, which, part of that sloppy fourth quarter, right? But Purdy, just, you get a touchdown, you get a touchdown, you get a touchdown. Everyone gets touchdowns. Juwan, Kittle, Pearsall finally breaks out again. He had 2 blue tent stints, 2 injuries, but found a way to make his impact. A big third down conversion to kind of ice this game for San Francisco.
That was a huge play because you're right. This game felt like it was over since early in the third quarter, but it was not. There was a 3rd and 11 conversion by Ricky Pearsall, final handful of minutes in this game, and he slipped on the comeback route.
Falling down.
If he doesn't catch that, Titans get the ball with like 5 minutes left, only down 2 scores. They go down and score, which you think they might be able to do considering what they're doing to the Niner defense in the fourth quarter. You're looking at a one-possession game with a couple of minutes left. Like, that was quietly a huge, huge, huge catch by Pearsall. Not an easy one.
Well, you can argue that play, albeit not in the grand scheme of things, because it wasn't a touchdown catch, it wasn't a big play early to help, get you in scoring position or whatnot, but that is a game-sealing catch that this team desperately needed. And for a first-round draft pick that had a really good beginning to the year, first 3 games, and hasn't really found his footing since, and in this case did lose his footing but caught the football still, like, that's a big play. He's limping off the field saying, hey, someone come get me, and this team needs Ricky Pearsall. They have to have a legitimate separator at wide receiver. You love Juwan Jennings, which, my goodness, 2 more touchdowns today, 6 touchdowns in his last 6 games.
He was great.
Maybe you want to re-sign Juwan Jennings at the end of the year. Now that Ayuk is in the ether and it's like, goodbye.
Yeah,
You're never going to see him again.
He's not a Niner anymore.
But you got to have Pearsall step up in a big way. And today, he was everything this team needed and more on third downs, on first downs, and hopefully going forward, him and Purdy can connect more often to help build that chemistry leading into a playoff run.
Yeah, this really felt like, Sterling, the first time in a while the Niners' passing offense had been more than just Kittle and Juwan, or Kittle and any one wide receiver, because early in the year it was Kittle, he was out, but it was Kendrick Bourne and then a couple of other pieces here and there. Of late, it's just been Kittle and just been Juwan. This was, and Juwan only had 3 catches, but they all were big, and 2 of them were touchdowns. But you had Ricky Pearsall, 6 for 96, George Kittle, 8 for 88 and a score, and then Juwan, as I mentioned, 3 for 37 and 2 touchdowns. Even in the first half, you had a couple of big catches from Demarcus Robinson, one that went for 30 yards and a big first down. He had 2 for 36 in total. Not a crazy day there, but this was probably, as a group, Sterling, the best day that Niners pass catchers have had in a long time, because it wasn't just one guy stealing the show and doing a lot of the heavy lifting. And then you also had McCaffrey, who ran the ball 22 times, only for 73 yards, just barely over 3 per carry. The run game was not very good. Purdy was the best part of the run game, specifically with that 26-yard scramble. But the pass-catching unit, Sterling, we talked so much about Ayuk and his injury and now his absence, and how is the receiving core going to survive? Now, the big question mark is around Pearsall and just can he stay healthy, because you mentioned 2 trips to the medical tent in this game alone. One on the first play of the game, first play from scrimmage for the Niner offense. He had a catch and immediately hobbled off late in the game as well. But this is probably the best the Niners have felt about their pass catching group all year long, which is saying something because, you still don't have Ayuk, and you still feel pretty good about that group right now.
Well, that's the thing, too. Coming into this one, we knew the Titans' run defense has looked much better late in the season, and Christian McCaffrey probably wasn't going to have his best game, or at least that was my expectation. And I knew that Brock Purdy may have to drop back 30 times to win this one.
He did.
Titans are playing
exactly.
better football. And, it's funny how things work out, right? But, you knew that this game was going to be on Brock Purdy's shoulders. And I know there was talk during the week on Willard and Dibs of what about Joe Burrow? And early in this season, Mac Jones. I mean, Brock Purdy looked like one of the best quarterbacks in football. Now, he's playing the Titans defense, and I get
Burrow
that.
Looked terrible today, too, by the way.
0 touchdowns, 0 points against the Baltimore Ravens. Brock Purdy, 3 touchdowns, no picks, albeit 1 fumble, but we can erase that from the record book if we have to. Strike it if we can. But, I mean, Brock Purdy was excellent today. There was zip on his ball. That layered throw over the middle to Pearsall on the crosser was lasered in there.
Yep.
And it was, you got me up out of my chair like, this is incredible. Brock Purdy's out there slicing and dicing this Titans defense and is taking it to him, as they should. And that was one of the big things I wanted to see coming into the game was you should stomp this defense. And if you can't stomp this defense and run all over them and pass all over them, that's going to be a problem. And I'm happy to say they scored 37 points. And quite frankly, it maybe could have been more had there been maybe, some more things happening in the first half. But San Francisco scored on their first 5 drives. You couldn't write it better for this offense today, especially for Brock Purdy and the receivers.
Well, let's see. Yeah, so touchdown, field goal, touchdown, then a fumble, then a field goal, and a field goal. That's the Niners' 8 drives, 7 scoring drives, and a fumble. So they didn't punt. They didn't punt once, Sterling. That's how good the Niner offense was in this one. Now, we'll say for how great the Niner offense was, and if you're just joining us, this is a rapid edition of Overtime here on 95.7 The Game, because our Warriors basketball pregame coverage begins in 25 minutes at 5 o'clock here on 95.7 The Game. So if you want to talk Niners, give us a call right now, 888-957-9570. Grandy and Sterling with you. For how good the Niner offense was, Sterling, the Niner defense, there were some issues in this game. The Titans, which this season have been one of the worst rushing offenses all season long, they were much better last week. They were coming off of a really nice win in Cleveland where they ran the ball well, really, for the first time all year. Cam Ward has probably his best game of his career, rookie, first overall pick. They averaged about 7 yards per carry in this game. Tony Pollard, 14 carries for 104 yards. That's 7.4 per carry. Tyjae Spears averaged over 11 per carry, just 3, but broke 1 for 20 yards. They were big chunks all over the place all game long on the ground for Tennessee. And while Cam Ward only threw for 170 yards, that could have easily been in the 200s. Very late in the first half, Renardo Green bites on a double move. I don't know why you're biting on a double move there when there's only a handful of seconds left. You'll give the throw underneath. He gets beat clear down the left sideline, and the only reason that wasn't a touchdown that made the game closer at halftime was because Cam Ward airmailed it. The defense, Sterling, did not do really much of anything that made me confident that when you play the likes of the Seahawks for sure, but even the Chicago Bears and, old man Phillip Rivers next week, that doesn't scare me all that much, considering that you should be able to put up some points on that team as well. You would trust the offense to do that and maybe take care of business in Indy on Monday night. But against the Bears, against the Seahawks, you could easily see those teams put upwards of 30 points on the Niner defense if they play the way that they did today.
Well, and the worst part about it is, okay, you expect maybe some rust, you're off the bye week, it takes a little bit of time to get in momentum. San Francisco's defense forces a 3-and-out on the first drive of the Titans.
Looks great.
The offense looks great, and you're like, oh, we're back in business. It's going to be fun. It's going to be an easy Sunday, kick back, relax, and hope other teams lose in the conference. And they just unraveled. From the third quarter on, basically, they just unraveled. And it was like, oh my goodness, is this going to be Niners, Detroit 2021?
Yep.
They pull the starters, got to put the guys back in, and that game has been one of the reasons why Shanahan refuses to pull starters so early in games. Mustafa just doesn't know how to track a ball downfield. Could have been an interception. Jair Brown drops a pick. Mustafa drops another pick early in the game. And Bernardo Green, like this defense is good for at least one blown coverage per game that leads to a touchdown.
Yeah.
Like Harold Fannin Jr., Ted McMillan against Carolina. There was one against the Cardinals too. It's just like every single week there's one blown coverage, primarily with Bernardo Green in coverage, which being a second-round draft pick who you're banking on being this team's number 2 cornerback, not ideal right now. There were some untimely penalties on Upton Stout for holding on third down, and you're just like, I know they're young. They're going to make mistakes, and you have to live and die by that, and that's okay. That was the plan all year long. That was the plan coming into the season, and that's what it's going to be going forward, knowing you don't have Fred and Bosa to help those guys out. However, you're hoping that off the bye week, wow, they get to rest and recalculate and kind of get themselves back together, that this is going to be a blowout. This game was a 3-score game entering the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And it was like
31-10 was the score. Yep.
And they took their foot off the gas. They got lazy. They stopped tackling. They just thought the game's over. And yeah, it kind of was, but like finish. John Lynch has said from the beginning of time, the day he got here, I want finishers. That offense finished. That defense early in the season finished. They ain't finishing now. And that's a big issue against the teams like the Colts and the Bears and Seattle. And God forbid come playoff time you're playing Matthew Stafford and that Rams offense. You're going to have a field day sitting back like we had no reason being in this game against this team.
Yep.
Like that's how scary the Rams are, but also how scary this Niners defense isn't right now. They're just a bunch of holes, and you're saying, can't we fill them? And right now they just can't.
By the way, all 3 NFC West games that were just in action in the afternoon slate have ended. Niners beat the Titans. We know that 37-24 is the final officially at Levi's. Seahawks beat Indy 18-16 in a nail biter there. Man. And then the Rams hold on versus the Lions in a really high scoring game. 41-34. You mentioned, like, say you play the Rams in the playoffs, which is very possible. Rams probably, you would think, are the favorite to be the 1 seed in the NFC at this point. Puka Nacua, although he left late with an injury, and we'll see what his injury is.
I think it was cramps.
Okay, so good news if you are a Rams fan. You never want to root for injuries, of course, if you are a Niner fan or anyone else. But Puka today, for example, Sterling, 9 catches, 181 yards. Lions defense is nothing amazing, but you just imagine what Puka and that physicality is going to do against this Niner defensive back group. Like, I would not be shocked if they play in the postseason, Puka goes for something similar to 9 for 181.
I mean, go back to what Cooper Kupp and Odell Beckham Jr. did against this defense in 2021. They both had over 100 yards, and they just sliced and diced their way through this, what at the time was actually a good defense that was starting Ambry Thomas and Diamador Lenore.
Oh,
you remember Ambry Thomas? I like to forget a lot about him, but here we are. And yeah, like, you can, like, I don't know. It's just, there are so many, like, I want to buy in to what this team can do because the offense is so good. McCaffrey and Kittle, and if Pearsall can become a mainstay and Jawan Jennings can remain clutch throughout the rest of the season, like, you are right there. The Lions lost again. I think they're 3 games behind you. Like, you're basically in the playoffs now. San Francisco is basically in. It's just about seeding. And right now, you're kind of hoping that the Seahawks lose against the Rams. Give me the 5th seed. I want to play Carolina. I want to play Tampa Bay. I don't want to get I don't want to play in the first round against the Seahawks or Green Bay, who lost Micah Parsons today, which seems pretty serious. Hope he's okay. But
speaking of, by the way, Adam Schefter just tweeted out the initial belief is that it was a torn ACL for Micah Parsons. In addition, Mahomes tore his ACL, and Mahomes and the Chiefs got eliminated from the postseason with their loss today and a couple other results. But that puts next year into question for Mahomes, and Micah Parsons out as well with what appears to be a torn ACL. Not official, but what the team fears is a torn ACL. Which is terrible. Hope those guys can get healthy. They're good for the game. They're good for the sport. And I'm sure Packers fans who feel like they had the elite player finally on defense are just gutted, albeit they're still in that game against Denver and have a good chance to win the division. It's just teams are banged up, and it's how can you survive, right? Green Bay's now banged up. The Lions were banged up. Dallas is banged up. The Rams maybe a little bit banged up. And in San Francisco, we all know are banged up. It's how can you just ride that lightning for as long as you can, and San Francisco's doing it. But defense is a little scary, Mark. Absolutely. And you talked about maybe you're rooting for the Rams to beat the Seahawks when they meet. And the logic there is kind of similar to maybe the logic of you rooting for the Rams today to beat the Lions to kind of just lock in the Niners as a playoff team. You could maybe concede the division to the Rams, but increase your likelihood of being one in the playoffs and two, either the 6th or the 5th seed. And you mentioned you want to aim for the 5th if you're not winning the division, because the 5th gets to take on either either the Panthers or the Bucks, both of whom are not interested in winning the division. They both just lost to terrible teams today. The Panthers lost to the Saints. The Saints previously beat the Bucks, and the Bucks also lost to the Falcons. So who the hell knows what's going to happen in the NFC South? All I know is the team that does finish 5th would get the worst division winner in the first round of the playoffs, and it's going to be one of those two teams, whichever team wins the South. That is the perfect spot that you'd want to be if you're not winning your division, Sterling.
Well, if you get lucky, too, the Rams don't get the number 1 seed, and maybe it's Chicago, maybe it's Green Bay, who knows, and maybe you have Rams-Seahawks round 1, and you're playing Carolina or Tampa Bay, and that's all for the future, but it's something that Niner fans should keep in mind as the next 3 weeks go by, of like, you are now playing for the 5th, 6th, and 7th seeds, and if you're lucky, the number 1 seed, albeit that does feel very far out of reach. But the one thing I keep trying to tell Niner fans that maybe aren't, I don't want to say bought in, but are hesitant to say this Niners team can create some noise in the playoffs is that it's all about matchups. It all depends on who you get each and every game in the playoffs, who you get each and every game in the regular season. You may not have to play the Rams or Seattle. You may get lucky and play Philadelphia and play Carolina. Like, you can only play who's in front of you. And right now, San Francisco's 10-4. They're a game behind the Rams and a game behind Seattle for the first place spot in the NFC West. And I really wouldn't pay too much attention to what other teams are doing. Take care of your own business, right? San Francisco is in control of their destiny. And if they can just close games out, this team is going to be competitive in every game they play against Indianapolis, Seattle, and Chicago the last 3 games of the season. But, I mean, the ending wasn't great, but how can you not feel positive? Like,
I mean, all you need to do is just win. And it doesn't matter how you win. It doesn't have to inspire a ton of confidence. If you win, you're going to have a good shot to win a first-round game of the postseason, and who knows what goes on from there. So really quick, the path to being the 1 seed is you win out, you beat the Colts, you beat the Bears, you beat the Seahawks, and you have the Seahawks beat the Rams Thursday night, which is the Thursday night game coming up this coming week. If that happens, you're the number 1 seed. But if you drop a game or the Rams beat the Seahawks and you still went out, you will not be the number 1 seed. You will not win the division. Now, you could still be the 5 or the 6 or the 7, of course, but we'll see how it all plays out. You're right that seems somewhat unlikely because you have to beat a couple of good teams to do it. Not saying the Niners can't. Of course they can. Those 2 games versus the Bears and the Seahawks are at home, and the Colts just played the Seahawks very tight in Seattle. That's not going to be a gimme either, even if you have no faith in Phillip Rivers, and he's 44. I wouldn't blame you if you do. But that seems difficult to have happen. Now, the way that it currently sits right now, Sterling, with all teams that are currently top 7 in the NFC having played 14 games, the Rams are the 1, Chicago's the 2, Philly's the 3, Tampa's the 4. Those are the division leaders. Seattle at 11-3 is the 5. The Niners at 10-4 are the 6. Green Bay, with their loss, that game just went final in Denver. They fall to 9-4-1. They are the 7 in the playoff picture in the NFC right now. Detroit still is out there at 8-6, sitting in the 8th spot in the NFC. So the Niners right now are at the 6th, and they play a head-to-head game with the team right ahead of them, so they control their own destiny for the 5 seed at the very worst. I think the easiest way to put it, Sterling, you win out, you're the 5 at worst, but there's a good chance you could be the 1 as well. That's the way it plays out for the Niners.
It sounds like we can quote the great Jimmy Garoppolo. Just win, baby. Just win, baby. It's all that matters. Just win, baby. In San Francisco.
I think that was originally Al Davis, but we'll give it to Jimmy Garoppolo.
We don't give Raiders credit here on the show. This is a Niner postgame show, Mark. They're in Las Vegas now. They abandoned the Bay. They aren't mentioned here on the show. Mark Davis' haircut is a simple reason as to why, but still. The Niners have to win, and they're doing it. I know sometimes it isn't pretty. Today it wasn't pretty. It was pretty early, and then it was really ugly late. Yeah. But I'm hoping, if anything, and this is my main takeaway, This offense is what's going to have to carry the load. This offense has the ability to do that. And this offense, at least for me, leaving today, gave me even more confidence that if they have to drop back 30 times, they can get it done. If they have to put this on Brock Purdy's shoulders, as they should be able to do with what they're paying him, they can get it done. And if you have the reemergence of Pearsall and you have Kittle and McCaffrey and Jennings all involved in the offense, with Kyle Shanahan calling plays, that is a nightmare for any defense and any defensive coordinator in the entire league. And I will take my chances with that team and that offense over almost, let's say 90% minus the Rams of any team in the playoff hunt right now.
Absolutely. I agree. All right, so this is how it's working here today. It's a very short edition of Overtime. We've got about 7 more minutes with you. Then we're going to get on out of here because we've got pregame Warriors coverage beginning. The Warriors are tipping off in Portland in a little more than an hour, which means our Warriors coverage begins shortly. Until then, though, it's Sterling and I with you here on Overtime. Let's go out to the phone lines, 888-957-9570, as the Niners beat the Titans 37-24. They're now 10-4 on the season. Chardol's in Fremont and wants to weigh in. What's up, Chardol? Chardol, you there?
I'm here. I'm a big. Hi, Mark. I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of your show. I'm a big fan of 95.7 The Game. I tune into your show every single night. As the San Francisco 49ers take now the Tennessee Titans 37-24. I mean, this was a great win. I mean, this was a statement victory for our team. I mean, we needed this badly because we need to secure that number 1 seed. What were your thoughts on the victory? I mean, Brock Purdy was electric in this game. I mean, he had 3 touchdowns and he had under 300 passing yards. I mean, he was really good. I mean, he really, he really played well in this game. I mean, this was a great win. I mean, and then the Niners they have to keep playing like this if they want to secure that number 1 seed.
Yeah, you're right, Chardol. I mean, on Brock Purdy specifically, and appreciate the call, I mean, you're right, Sterling, that this was the kind of performance where at least you have a chance even if your defense doesn't show up. And just the belief that, hey, we can do this. Even if our defense doesn't get us many stops, we're not out of this game. We can win these football games, and that's what I think today felt like. Now, you're going to play a better defenses than Tennessee. There's no doubt about that. The Colts are a better defense than Tennessee. The Bears are a better defense than Tennessee. They're turnover machine.
Hard not to be.
The Bears, yes, absolutely, especially this iteration of this Titans defense. They're banged up, and they lost 4 or 5 guys in this game as well that went down throughout the game. And the Seahawks absolutely miles better than this Titans defense. You're going to have major challenges coming up, your offense against opposing defenses. And, of course, in the postseason, it's not going to be easy either. I think what today signaled, though, Sterling, was because we didn't really see it against Cleveland, although, you had the Brock Purdy rushing touchdown, and he did the Dougie, and vibes were high, and things were looking and feeling good.
Yeah.
But that wasn't the high-level output game from the Niner offense that makes you feel like they have a chance to do this against any defense in the league. Today, though, was, all right, the defense gives up 27. You still have a chance to win. And I haven't felt that way about this Niner team in a while. And I do right now because Brock Purdy looks like, he's playing the best football. Today was probably his best football game. I'd have to go back through the game log last year, but this was his best football game maybe since pre-Christmas a couple of years ago when he nearly was an MVP. It's been a while since Purdy had this kind of game.
Yeah, I think, maybe outside of last Sunday, or not last Sunday, but 2 Sundays ago against Cleveland, where he played a safe, conservative game, but was moving the ball downfield and looked really, just competitive and was making the throws when they had to be and was on time. This was the most explosive Brock Purdy looked on the ground and through the air, probably since 2023, maybe against the Commanders in that late season game, or like you were saying before Christmas, 2023. But to say that it's been over a year and a half where the offense looks like they can score 35 points a game again, which it hasn't done that in a very long time. That to me is confidence. Now, I would say don't play like this on defense because then you're going to lose the next 3 games, which wouldn't be the way to end the season. And you'd give teams like Detroit a chance to creep up on you. But this offense, I think it certainly instills confidence in me. And at least I've been going through the quarterbacks in the playoffs currently, and I don't think I'm crazy to say the way Brock Purdy has played the last 2 games, he might be the second best quarterback in the NFC playoffs today.
Yeah.
And that to me is what I'm kind of stamping my flag on. If I had the second best quarterback not named Matthew Stafford, that gives you a chance to win every game in front of you. For now, against the Colts, against Seattle, whatever you're playing, and that to me is like what the Niners should anchor themselves on. We have this high-octane offense. Can the defense just play bend, don't break for 4 quarters or only give up 20 points a game? Because this offense can put up a lot of points really fast.
According to The Athletic, which runs playoff probabilities and numbers, Sterling, with today's win and the rest of the results around the league, the big one, of course, is the Lions losing. The Niners have a 96% chance to make the playoffs.
Ooh.
So
that's pretty good.
It would take a collapse of epic proportions for the Niners to not make the playoffs, and they say that the Niners have a 13% chance to win the division, a 10% chance to get the first round bye, which is the number 1 overall seed. I think that seems correct. Just how I would kind of make it up in my head. You're going to make the playoffs. You're going to make the playoffs. Even if you just win one of the next 3, you're still probably going to get in. That Lions loss today went a long way in deciding that. They're now 8-6. You're 10-4, and you're likely going to have the tiebreaker over them as well. So you're essentially guaranteed to finish ahead of the Lions. Not quite, but nearly there.
Well, just put it this way: you beat the Colts, you're in. It's that simple.
Exactly. Yes. The Rams just clinched a playoff spot, and they're 1 game better than you. So they became the first team in the NFC to clinch a playoff spot. The Broncos won today. They also clinched a playoff spot in the AFC. Those are the only 2 teams that have clinched playoff spots. Niners very, very well could be on that doorstep next Monday night when they're in Indy, maybe taking on Phillip Rivers and the Colts. The Niners could win and get in there. So at this point, Sterling, like, style points don't really matter much to me, and we got a couple minutes left. Style points don't really matter. This is just take care of business, get a win, and move on. You figure things out when you get to the playoffs, and then that's when you just try to survive in advance. You don't get anything extra for style points. This is not the college football playoff where you have to win by 40 to prove that you're good just to get into the to the playoff bracket. This is just win your football games by any means necessary, get in, and then see where the chips fall. And right now they're falling in the Niners' favor.
It doesn't matter if you're Notre Dame or Bama, just win. It's all that matters, and you're going to get in. Hopefully they'll get healthier next week. Bethune, Yeturgos Matos, and guys might come back, so there is another bump hopefully coming along the way, but you're right, Mark, just win. All you got to do is just win.
Absolutely. All right. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for overtime today here on 95.7 The Game. A very short show because we've got Warriors basketball. They tip off in Portland in an hour, which means Warriors Live. I'll be hanging out for that. That starts next.
Tossing to yourself.
I'm not really. We got a break. When we come back, more me, but talking about the Warriors instead. And unfortunately, Sterling, we do have Warriors basketball next Monday night as well, so there will not be any overtime after the game against the Colts on Monday night, but we will be back after that. The Chicago Bears in town. That will be, of course, a night when we do have overtime here on 95.7 The Game. Sterling, so I will not talk to you next week, but I'll see you in 2 more weeks when we talk about Niners and Bears.
You snip, snap. I have no idea what that does to a guy. Let us do shows.
Blame the NBA's schedule, okay?
Darn you.
Don't blame me. All right, for Sterling Bennett, my name is Mark Randy signing off. Shout out to our guys behind the glass, but they're hanging out for the rest of the night as well, Cam and Steven. I'll be back with Warriors Live coming up next. The Niners, though, knock off the Titans. Final score, 37-24. They take a major step towards the postseason with the win today at Levi's. Warriors Live coming up next on 95.7 The Game.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Ask yourself this question. Is it really worth holding on to that timeshare that you know you need to get rid of? Here's the truth. The average maintenance fee just went up over 17%. That could have been 117%, and there's nothing you can do about it. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check for annual maintenance and assessment fees. I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. For 15 years, I've helped over 50,000 families cancel their timeshare. Not sell it, not transfer it, cancel it. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment and your maintenance fees would never go up? That's a lie. Are you ready to get rid of your timeshare once and for all? Simply call us and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit that explains all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your timeshare exit kit. 800-932-5858. That's 800-932-5858. 800-932-5858.
So, how's your research going?
Surprising. After I figured out the top-rated TVs in our price range, I went shopping for deals.
And who's the best?
It wasn't the internet, and it wasn't the warehouse club.
But?
It was video only. They had better deals on the Samsung, LG, and the Sony TVs that got the highest scores.
Better than online and at the club?
I know! Video only beat them all. And now we can afford an even better model for the same price. My research really paid off.
If we buy it video only.
Exactly. Otherwise, we'll be sorry.
At Video Only, you won't find huge stores with refrigerators or microwaves, but you will find the best deals on top-rated TVs, soundbars, and monitors. Shop around. Just make sure you visit Video Only, because if you don't,
you'll be sorry.
In Mountain View, San Mateo, Union City, Dublin, and San Rafael. Video Only.
Hey, it's your boy Guru. Every time we put a rat on the table during our show, it's brought to you by Atco Pest Control. Atco Pest Control is a family-owned local business proud to provide pest control in the Bay Area for over 35 years. Atco uses natural methods to give you a peace of mind and keep your family out of harm's way. Quality pest control doesn't have to empty your savings either. Don't wait. Go to AtcoPestControl.com for all your pest control needs. They got you covered.
This is the story of the one. As an HVAC technician, he and his digital multimeter are in high demand. So when a noisy office HVAC turns out to be a failing blower motor, he doesn't break a sweat. With Grainger's easy-to-use website and product information, he selects the product he needs to keep everything humming right along. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9834. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 five-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-9834. That's 800-575-9834. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Television sales on Black Friday set new records as millions of Americans snapped up the hot deals. But a lot of people were out of town or too busy to take advantage of the special pricing. So, how about a redo? Right now, you've got a second chance to save big on many of the top-rated Samsung, LG, and Sony TVs. Where? At Video Only, where the smart shoppers go. So, don't miss out. Check out Video Only now, or
you'll be sorry.
Tune in to 95.7 The Game for Warriors Live, 60 minutes before tip-off. Every Warriors game throughout the season as we get ready for the action. Presented by Xfinity, your home court advantage. Brought to you by Xfinity. Watch all your favorite teams all in one place. Xfinity, imagine that.
Do you often worry you left the garage door open? With a LiftMaster garage door opener powered by MyQ, you'll never worry again. You can control, secure, and monitor your garage from your smartphone anytime, from anywhere through the MyQ app. As an authorized LiftMaster dealer, Ace's Garage Door Repair and Installation has smart openers designed for your needs, including belt drive motors for ultra-quiet operation, integrated camera for live video, streaming, and battery backup to let you in when the power is out. Trust Ace's Garage Door Repair and Installation for top-notch service and unbeatable reliability. Whether you need a quick fix, a complete replacement, or a brand new installation for your garage door or garage door opener, our skilled technicians are here to get the job done right. With competitive prices, a commitment to quality, and diamond certification, Aces has you covered. Call today at 855-588-2237 or visit acegd.com. That's acegd.com. Aces Garage Door Repair and Installation, where your garage door is our priority.
Never have I ever called my sister from the finish line of my first marathon.
Hello?
You won't believe where I am.
Are you running?
Mile 26. I'm gonna make it.
Switch to T-Mobile's 55 Plus plan and get iPhone 16e with its advanced camera system on us. Plus, 2 lines for just $30 a line.
Guys, I can't believe it.
I knew you could do it, babe.
That was amazing. Mom, how do you feel?
I feel great. I can't feel my feet. Let's take a picture, and then you may carry me to the car.
Share every stride, every mile, every memory on America's best network. Switch to T-Mobile's 55 Plus plan and get iPhone 16e on us and 2 lines for just $30 a line.
With 24 monthly bill credits and 2 eligible port-ins on Essentials 55 Plus for well-qualified customers with autopay plus taxes, fees, and $35 device connection charge. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us. Finance agreement 128 gigabytes, $599.99 required. Best mobile network in the U.S. based on analysis by Ookla of Speed Test Intelligence data 1H 2025. Visit T-Mobile.com.
Bay Area, get ready for Evanescence 2026 World Tour on July 20th at Shoreline Amphitheater in Mountain View. Get your tickets at LiveNation.com for your chance to win your way into the show, courtesy of Live Nation. Visit the contest page at 957thegame.com.
This is the story of the one. As the purchasing manager at a manufacturing plant, she knows the only thing more important than having the right safety gear is having it there when you need it. That's why she partners with Grainger for auto reordering, so her team members can count on her to have cut-resistant gloves on hand, and each shift can run safely and efficiently. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Some people just know you can save money on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like, you know, to check if they're going for it on 4th down, before going to the concession stand.
Yeah, give me 3 hot dogs, 2 jumbo touchdown, baby! What?
Hey, buddy, you want cheese with those? Yeah, checking first is smart.
No.
So check Allstate first and see what you could save. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Potential savings vary, including based on how you buy, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate North American Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM in Go on Odyssey Sports Station. Always live on the free Odyssey app, Twitch, and YouTube. Powered by First NorCal Credit Union.
Yes, it is. Welcome in to Warriors Live here on 95.7 The Game. Mark Randy with you for the next 20-plus minutes until I hand things off to Tim Roy, who's standing by up in Portland as we get ready for Warriors and Blazers on this Sunday evening. Warriors 13-13, 8th in the West. Blazers 9-16, 12th in the West. Getting set to battle for the 3rd time this season. The Blazers 2-0 versus the Warriors so far. We will get you ready for tip-off, which is coming shortly after 6 here on 95.7 The Game. Mark Randy with you. Warriors Live presented by Xfinity. Your home court advantage brought to you by Xfinity. Watch all your favorite teams all in one place. Xfinity. Imagine that. Warriors coming off of a really rough loss at home on Friday to the Timberwolves. T-Wolves, a good basketball team, 16-9, but they were without their best player in Anthony Edwards, and the Warriors were relatively healthy. Down Draymond Green, down Al Horford, but had just about everybody else available in this game. Steph Curry returned after he missed the whole road trip in a couple of games at home. He scored 39 points. He was great, particularly in the fourth quarter. You did not get a ton of help from the others. You got 16 points from Quentin Post, who was good, particularly from the outside. You got 15 from Jimmy Butler, but only scored 1 point and only got one shot up in the fourth quarter as a whole in that game. The T-Wolves at one point went on a 17-0 run in the fourth quarter. They ultimately outscored you 39-29 in the fourth to turn a deficit after 3 into a 7-point win. 127-120 was the final there. The Warriors kind of making a habit of losing two teams down a star. This is becoming common. The Warriors lost in Milwaukee to the Bucks, who were down Giannis. They lost the next day in Indiana versus the Pacers, who were down Halliburton. They lost in Orlando to the Magic, who were down Paolo Banchero. They lost in Houston to the Rockets, who were down Kevin Durant. That was at home, the last homestand. And they just lost to the T-Wolves on Friday, down Anthony Edwards. So this is a Warrior team that when the schedule has broken their way and they've gotten some luck in terms of the opposing team's injury report, they haven't taken advantage. And you include that with the fact that they have had their own injury bad luck. Steph Curry missed a couple of games with an illness, and then he just missed a handful of games with a quad contusion. Al Horford, is seemingly rare that he plays basketball. Draymond Green missed a couple with a foot issue, missed one last game because of a personal reason. He is back, and he is going to play today. Jimmy Butler's missed a couple here and there as well. You combine your injury misfortune with the inability to take advantage when other teams have had some injury and misfortune, and that's why you're 13-13. 8th in the Western Conference, and Friday was a very, very good opportunity for you to gain some ground in the Western Conference playoff standings, because the Timberwolves are right ahead of you in the standings, and you could not take advantage and win that basketball game. So now your attention shifts to the Blazers, who are 2-0 versus you so far this season, and this is a team that's behind you, and you need to win if you're serious about being a playoff team. All right. Again, this is Warriors Live here on 95.7 The Game. If you're looking for overtime, reacting to that Niner win today versus the Titans, unfortunately, due to scheduling restrictions or scheduling issues with the NFL and the NBA, we got to get to some Warriors talk here on 95.7 The Game. Appreciate you tuning in, though, for Niners Overtime for the last half an hour. This is Warriors Live, again presented by Xfinity, your home court advantage, brought to you by Xfinity. Watch all your favorite teams all in one place. Xfinity, imagine that. Okay, the Blazers 9-16, 12th in the West. They're 3-6 at home, 6-10 on the road. They began the season as one of the surprises in the league. I think right now the surprise in the league probably belongs to the Phoenix Suns, who've been playing really good basketball. They're sitting at 14-11. They are a game and a half ahead of the Warriors. That title, though, surprise specifically in the West, I think belonged to Portland early in the season. They were good early. They began the season 5-3. They beat teams such as the Warriors, the Lakers, the Nuggets, and the Thunder. 4 of their first 5 wins came against those teams: Warriors, Lakers, Nuggets, and Thunder. Specifically, Lakers, Nuggets, and Thunder. Those 3 teams are 3 of the top teams in the West, and the Thunder and the Nuggets, the 2 top teams in the Western Conference. So they beat some really good teams early, and until OKC was upset by San Antonio last night in the NBA Cup semifinals in Vegas, that one Thunder loss, they're not 24-2, but they were 24-1. That one Thunder loss was to this Portland team. They began the season 5-3. Things were looking really good for Portland. Since then, though, they're 4-13 in their last 17 games. They've been dealing with their own injuries. We'll get to that coming up in a little bit. But in their last 17, in which they've only won 4 games, they've lost to the Mavericks, to the Bulls, to the Grizzlies, to the Pelicans. To summarize, a lot of bad basketball teams. They are not playing good basketball right now. However, the last time you played them, November 21st, if you're the Warriors, you lost that game. They also were not playing good basketball then, so you cannot take this team lightly. Plus, they are at home in Portland. This is a game the Warriors are going to have to focus in order to win. The Blazers this year are 2-0 versus the Warriors, and they're 7-16 against everybody else. We'll see if the Warriors can get off the schneid a little bit here, get a win, get back above 500, and beat the Blazers for the first time this season. Speaking of, let's get to our injury report, which is brought to you by Boxer & Gerson, Northern California's premier workers' compensation law firm, helping injured workers get their lives back for over 40 years. For more info, visit boxerlaw.com. First, for the Warriors, Al Horford is still out dealing with right sciatic nerve irritation. It's cost him a handful of games of late. He also does not play in back-to-backs. This one, not a back-to-back. He's out because of that injury. It's his 13th missed game so far this season. Tonight is the Warriors' 27th game. So he's basically missed half of the Warriors' games so far this year. In the first 12 that he has missed, the Warriors are 5-7 without Al Horford so far this season. Meanwhile, Seth Curry, left glute soreness. He is questionable. Latest injury report said questionable. He's still listed as that. I would imagine a game-time decision. He's probably going to try to test it out pregame, and we will see if I get word on Seth Curry's availability before I'm off here coming up in about 15 minutes. I will let you know, of course, on 95.7 The Game. Meanwhile, Gary Payton II, he's dealing with an illness, and he is out in this game tonight. No GP2, who is out. No Al Horford is out. Seth Curry is questionable. Just taking a look at who participated for the Warriors on Friday. GP2 played, but only played in 4 minutes, so him being out might not be a major surprise or a major blow for the Warriors. He's kind of been out of the rotation a little bit, specifically that game on Friday. So we'll see how the Warriors maybe adjust with no GP2 even available in the first place. Meanwhile, the Blazers, they have a long injury report. However, it just got some positive updates. A number of big men for the Blazers. Donovan Clingan, the second-year big out of UConn, he was questionable with a left lower leg contusion. He, though, has been upgraded to available. Robert Williams III dealing with an illness. He was questionable. He, though, is available. And then their rookie big man, Young Hansen, he was questionable with a face contusion. He, though, is available. So all three of those bigs for the Blazers are available after previously being listed as questionable. However, Scoot Henderson has still not played yet this year, dealing with a left hamstring tear. He's still out. Drew Holiday, the veteran guard that they acquired over the offseason, he has a right calf strain. He is out. He's not played in about a month. Matisse Thybulle, the wing, one of the best wing defenders, perimeter defenders in basketball, he is still out, been out a month and a half. A left thumb ligament tear. Those guys are out, so no Henderson, no Drew Holiday, no Thybulle, of course, no Dame Lillard, dealing with that Achilles tear that he suffered late last year. They're all out. Everybody else, though, available for the Blazers in this one, including their bigs. And that's meaningful because the last time these two teams played, Portland dominated the Warriors on the offensive glass. So we'll see how the Warriors match up physically against this Blazers front line led by Donovan Clingan, Robert Williams, and some of their other bigs. However, as we break down this Portland team, I think when you think about Portland, you first now have to think about Deni Avdija, who they acquired a couple of years ago from the Washington Wizards, was a first-round draft pick, never really broke through consistently with the Wizards, but ever since coming over and making his Portland debut last year, he was great, really good last year. He's taken another step forward so far this year, averaging 25 points per game, 7 rebounds, 6 assists. He's shooting a good percentage as well, 47% from the field, 37% from deep. Deni Avdija is a legit all-star. You average 25 points per game, 7+ rebounds, 6+ assists. On those kind of shooting numbers, you deserve to be an all-star. Everything begins with Deni Avdija offensively for Portland, and then a big leap as well for a young guard wing, Shaedon Sharpe, who's averaging over 21 points per game, one of the best leapers in all of basketball. Jeremy Grant, who they paid a lot of money a number of years ago, he's, in my opinion, drastically overpaid, but he'll get you about 20 per game as well, averaging 19.3 per game. And then they got some good pieces around them, such as Toumani Camara, one of the best defenders in basketball. He also averages in double figures of scoring. So despite the injuries, Portland still has some quality pieces, and they particularly, I think, match up pretty good. The Portland Blazers do against this Warrior team, thanks to their size. Melton being back, I think, really helps the Warriors, because what hurt the Warriors last time these two teams played, in my opinion, wasn't necessarily the size difference. I know a lot of people will look at that box score, and let me go and find it really quick so I can give you the exact numbers. It was November 21st. Portland won 127-123. Warriors blew a lead in that game. They led by as many as, I believe it was 11 in the third quarter. Yeah, they led by 11, 90-79. Halfway through the third, they ultimately lose that game, 127-123. The box score is not pretty in the rebounding category for the Warriors. Portland, 52 rebounds in that game. The Warriors, 32 in that one. And a lot of them were offensive rebounds for Portland, which led to second chance points. I think, in my opinion, it wasn't necessarily that the Blazers and their size dominated the Warriors, and there was nothing the Warriors could do to box out Klingon, who had 10 rebounds, to box out Robert Williams, the third, who had 11 rebounds. I think it was the inability to stop drivers, ball handlers driving past the front line of defense for the Warriors. And when that happens, say when Deni Avdija, who had 13 assists in that game, Deni Avdija drives. What happens when, from the perimeter, a ball handler gets past whoever's guarding him and gets into the paint? If you're Draymond Green, or if you're Quentin Post, or whoever it is kind of manning down low, you have to step up and defend that guy. What happens when the big, who's supposed to be guarding Klingon, steps up to stop a driver? That guy Klingon is suddenly wide open underneath, and whether he takes the pass or the shot misses from Avdija or whatever the case is, he's in a great position because there's nobody there to box him out. And it's hard for a defense when the guy guarding the big rebounder leaves to stop a drive. It's hard for the defense to rotate quick enough to get a body on Klingon and to box him out. So I don't think the Warriors were really hurt necessarily just purely from a size standpoint. Of course, being bigger would help. But in this particular instance, I think it was the inability to stop drivers, which led to a lot of the offensive rebounding problems, the defensive rebounding problems for the Warriors. It led to the gigantic edge the Blazers had in second chance points, thanks to their offensive rebounds. You put D'Anthony Melton up top on someone like a Deni Avdija, that's going to limit some of those free line drives to the hoop, which is going to allow Draymond and Quentin Post to stay attached to Donovan Klingon and Robert Williams and get their body on them for a box out and not allow those offensive rebounds. Now, it's still going to take a team effort on the glass, of course, against this big Portland team. Minnesota also big, and while the offensive rebounds weren't dominant for Minnesota on Friday, those bigs were. Specifically, Julius Randle had a really big game for Minnesota in that one. Rudy Gobert was great in that game. We will see how it plays out in this one. Draymond Green being back and available obviously makes a big difference, but I think the first question for the Warriors is, can you stop perimeter drives? And that's where D'Anthony Melton is going to help. I think an interesting question is, what is D'Anthony Melton's best skill for this Warrior team? What do they need the most? I think it is a good point of attack defender. But it's not the only thing that he does. He's a good ball handler. He can distribute. He can kind of take some of the ball handling pressure off of Steph Curry. He's also an okay shooter, not like a knockdown three-point shooter, but can shoot the ball enough and well enough from outside that defenses have to respect it. I think, though, his best attribute for this Warrior team is specifically perimeter defense, and we will see how he impacts this game tonight, because last time the Warriors played, there was no Melton, and the Blazers just abused Warriors' perimeter defenders. Namely, it was Moses Moody. At times, it was Jonathan Kuminga. And it was also Podziemski. It was Buddy Hield. It was really, you name it. Pardon me, it was not Kuminga. Kuminga did not play in that game. He was still out with the injury. But really, anybody that was out there defensively for the Warriors, checking Avdija along the perimeter, they could not stop him. So we will see how it plays out in this one. Speaking of Kuminga, Kuminga is available and ready to play. We will see if he gets the nod. I thought the Warriors could have used him on Friday versus Minnesota, just simply for the fact that I think physically he's one of the few Warriors on the roster that could have matched up with Julius Randle and Naz Reid, who hurt the Warriors at times in that game from the outside. Just in terms of a taller, athletic, strong body that you can put on someone like Julius Randle, I thought Kuminga could have been used. Don't necessarily believe that it would have gone great, that Kuminga would have shut either of those guys down, but just having Jonathan Kuminga try, I think, what was worth the effort. Didn't happen. We'll see if he's used in this game today. I don't think this game is quite as tailor-made for Kuminga, just in terms of a defensive matchup. There's no doubt, though, with Portland's athleticism namely from Shaden Sharp and Tumani Kamara with some length as well. Kuminga does match up with those guys. Now, we will see if he gets in. Reading the tea leaves, it seems like this relationship, I think, is too far gone for a recovery. We shall see how it all plays out, though, here on 95.7 The Game. All right, this is Warriors Live, presented by Xfinity, your home court advantage, brought to you by Xfinity. Watch all your favorite teams all in one place. Let's get to our Take It to the Bank prediction, brought to you by Fremont Bank, here for you, here for good. I'll go over 4.5 assists for Jimmy Butler. This is not a must-win game, but in terms of games in the middle of December, this one feels pretty darn important. When that's the case, the Warriors' goal is to limit turnovers and to take every possession seriously. When that is the case, Jimmy Butler touches the ball a lot, and Jimmy Butler's preferred thing is to make the right basketball play, and very often that is to pass the ball, especially when the Warriors don't have a lot of other great shooters around. So I'm going to go over 4.5 assists for Jimmy Butler in this game today. I think he touches the ball a lot, and the Warriors look to him to initiate a lot of the offense, specifically when Steph Curry is off the court. All right, this has been Warriors Live, presented by Xfinity, your home court advantage, brought to you by Xfinity. Watch all your favorite teams all in one place. Xfinity, imagine that. I will be back for Warriors wrap-up once this game ends. For now, though, a quick break. Then when we come back up to Portland, Tim Roy is standing by. Warriors basketball is next on 95.7 The Game.
Ready for your next adventure? Welcome to San Francisco International Airport.